Hello, everybody. Welcome to A Trader's Journey. My name is Leslie Pibbs. Welcome to another watch list pre-market Sunday sessions video. And today we're going to tackle what we expecting to happen in market, and obviously we'll adjust as we go, like I always say. We're just gonna do our forecast for the week, and let's see if we get some opportunities. So without further ado, let's jump into the charts and look at EU, pound dollar, gold, and obviously dollar yen, and China, and also to see where what the market's trying to do. Obviously, we had a very big week with the news, and obviously Thursday was a bit horrible with the news, and then NFP kicked in as well. Obviously, we had FOMC as well in the mix, so it was quite a eventful week. Tough for trading, especially if you want to trade the higher time frames. The setups were not there. But let's see what we can unpack for next week and see what's on the market. So looking at the weekly, obviously I'm just gonna focus on last week. Obviously, it's a lot of the stuff we already tackled in other videos, so I just want to focus on last week's candle. I want to make it too long because of not a lot has happened on the weekly chart as yet. So I just want to keep it on last week's candle. Let's just analyze that and try and see what the market will do going to next week. So when I look on the weekly, what happened last week, obviously the previous week we had a bullish week. We never swept this high. Our price just kept on running. We swept the high of the week before last, and we sort of wicked into the opening price of the other week, and then we opened with a bit of a gap, never swept the high, and then we had a bearish week. Obviously, this wick is because of the news. This wick over here, right? It's because of the news. Obviously, if there was no NFP this week, I feel like this candle would have closed in this zone over here. But because of NFP, the market sort of started pulling back a little bit. All right. So with regards to next week, I want to see this order block here, the high of this order block. If we can close on Monday, open and close on the daily above this level, then I feel like the bullish momentum is going to continue onto these highs over here, awake these highs. But at the moment, we're not sure. Obviously, we had a deeper pullback. Pound dollar looks a little bit different, so that's why I'm not sure about the bullish momentum at the moment. I feel like price is going to continue what it started last week, right? So we're going to analyze this zone over here where price closed and look at what can we expect going into next week. So if I go into the daily, obviously on the daily you can clearly see market structure. I'm just going to leave this to weekly level. You can see we broke structure, obviously, with this momentum. This is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, very big momentum. And then Thursday sort of stalled. Obviously, we're expecting a news. We broke this weekly level, closed at this weekly level, retested this level, and then Friday was supposed to continue the run, but because of the news, price came up to rebalance price. So we started the rebalance, filled in some of the gaps. So I'm gonna monitor this area. Obviously, this is a weekly area. See if price can reject here or come up here to fill some of the gap and close below, and maybe see the run, the bearish run continue. So that's what I'm looking at on the daily. So I'm waiting to see if price, see how the daily opens. Maybe we'll open and then pull back slightly and then continue going up. But we'll see at this level here, at this weekly order block level, see if price can hold there, or we're gonna get a deeper pullback. So if I pull out the Fibonacci's and see where currently price is pulling back, gonna this high to this low. So we are currently just past the halfway point. Let me just delete this so it becomes more clearer to you guys. You can see we are past the halfway point of this current run. So we pull back just past the 0.5. Let's see if we can get to the 618. Let me just pull back that weekly level. There we go. So this is the weekly level. We'll see if the pullback can come to the 618, a little bit of a deeper pullback, and see if we can continue the run. See if we can reject either this level or the 618, fill some of this gap over here, and then continue the run down. So that's what I'm probably expecting the daily to do. Monday we'll probably set up the week, and it'll tell us exactly where the market sentiment is. At the moment, that's my expectation. Come to the 618, fill some of this gap, and maybe continue going down again, because I think we are sort of stuck in this zone, in this price area. At the moment, I feel like we've maxed out what the market has done this year. I mean, this is the low of the year over here. This is the low of the year. So we had this run. It's about, if I just measure the low to the high of the year, it's a 16% price difference, from when the year started. So it was quite a big run. So I think it's maxed out. We'll start seeing some pullbacks, but it's all about Monday. Let's see how Monday opens and we can react from there. So going into the 4-hour, the market's not looking like tradable at the moment, but this is the level. And maybe if we look closely, this gap here, this is the 618 on the fib on the of the daily. If I just draw the fibs again from this low to this low, you can see to fill that gap we'll reach the 618 price point, 618 pullback area, which price will be into the premium zone, and then we'll see if we can see some market structure shifting bearish, and take advantage of those trades. So at the moment, a little bit of overnight trading into this area, and maybe see for the week if we can come in this area or target this weekly zone. So let's see if we can reject in this area, look for some sells at this point. If we break this area, we'll see what if there's some opportunities to come into this value area. This is the original area where this run started. So the value is over here. So this is the area that started this run. So if we break these levels, then we can see price come up to these levels over here, and then we can make a decision over there. So we can see there is, if we can break and close above this area like this and retest, and then we'll look for a trade into this area to a bit of a deeper pullback if the 618 doesn't hold as well. So at the moment it's ifs and buts, but I feel like we are starting to shift bearish, and we'll see a trend starting soon. But this is obviously a consequence of the NFP results. Obviously, if you heard, Trump is disputing the numbers that came out, saying they were rigged and all that stuff. Obviously, that causes a lot of uncertainty in the market. So we just have to tread carefully. Don't hold on to the trades for too long until the geopolitical issues die down, the political issues die down a little bit, and then we can return back to normalcy in trading. So at the moment, just tread carefully in the market, reduce your risk, and take it from there. So going into the pound dollar, I just want to go to the weekly quickly, because you can see the weekly on a pound dollar looks a little bit different because of we already broken this zone, right? EU was a little bit weaker than pound last week, but pound was also has broken significant levels. So pound, here's the area that I'll be looking to get in at. Because of it's already on the weekly, it's already started to shift bearish, whereas euro dollar hasn't shifted bearish yet, but pound has. So pound looks a little bit cleaner. Obviously there is some targets for the upcoming weeks. First target will be this. If we get a deeper pullback into the zone, next targets coming up will be these areas over here. So there is quite a lot of opportunities to come if we get a bearish behavior, because of obviously you can see the structure shift. We broke this auto block level, we closed below this level, so I'm looking for an open and a pullback, just so that the weekly candle to wick into this into these gaps over here, into the zone, and we can look for short entries at that level, right? That's what I'm looking at. Looking at last week, obviously we opened, cleaned up all these levels, and then we closed way below this level here. So if I go on the daily, show you exactly what I'm talking about, you can see the daily candle doesn't look as big as the candle on EU, because EU moved quite a bit, so it needed to fill some of the gaps. So this is my zone, a little bit of an open into this area on the daily, open a little bit, come into these areas, this area here, and see if we can short from there. But there is another level that could hold price, where price reacted from after the news, this one as well. So I'm going to be monitoring these two levels. Obviously this is my inflection point, but there's still a gap. My value area is here because of this is the wick that started this run, you know. So I have a value area over here, which is my first initial target, unless I see some sort of reversal here at this level coming down, and then I can look for my entries there. But this is the inflection point, and this is where a lot of traders get caught on the wrong side of the market. I'll go down to the 4 hour and tell you and show you what I'm talking about. Coming into the 4 hour, like I was saying, this is my inflection point here. So a lot of traders will look for entries at this level, right? But I'm more worried about this gap, because this is the original volume, right? This one here, over here, original volume. This is the original volume that started this run, and you see price broke the structure, failed to break above this candle, and then came back again, failed to break above this candle. So this is the inflection point. So usually what happens with areas like this is a lot of traders look for entries at these areas, and then what happens is price tends to wick out, washes all those stops, and then starts running again, you know. So price tends to wick in these areas, washes the stops, comes back, closes below this level, and we see a run again, right? So my level of entry, my safe entry will be here, but let's see how price react at this level, right? But my preferred entry will be at these levels, cover this high, and then target the low of the structure. And then we'll obviously, depending how we get to this area, we'll see where price does. So obviously you have to look left, see where target areas are. Obviously this will be the first target, and the the first target, you can see the double bottom here. And if we break this level, there isn't a lot of resistance points until we get to this area. So this could be a quite a big run if we manage it correctly. But obviously, you pick your first target first, and then readjust based on what the market's doing. So this is the area where I'm looking to enter, and we'll see how price reacts from there. So going into gold, gold has been quite an anomaly. I'm not gonna analyze the week because of it's stuck in this horrible price area. Obviously, this is the consequence of the news with gold. It's trading into this this value area. This is their the volume, but the original volume is up here. Let me just clean up the market. Obviously, this is my inflection point over here, and we'll see how we react here. But it might just fill this gap and probably turn and see if we can get some bearish behavior, some bearish price coming up next week. But I'm looking at this gap trading into the, excuse me, got a bit of a flu going on, but I'm looking at this gap trading into the extreme of this this range. Right? Gold is better if you trade it at the extreme, short at the extreme, buy at the extreme of this range. So these are the lows and the highs that you possibly want to look for entries from. Anything in between here is very risky with gold, so just be careful when trading gold in these areas. Wait for it to get to some sort of extreme, especially this high and this low, and then make your decisions based on that, right? But go in the 4 hour, you can see it's easier to trade it at these extremes, right? The high, the low, anything in between here is quite indecisive and it can hurt you a lot. So at the moment we are moving up into this value area. This is the volume that started this run, obviously hoping maybe to get involved around these areas. I'm just looking at gold. I'm waiting for it to get to extreme. Right now it's in the middle of the range. It could go either way, so we'll see what happens on Monday. If we can trade a little bit into this premium zone, and then we can look for shorts. But at the moment I'm not looking at gold. It's in the middle of the range. I'm staying away. Going to UJ. UJ is quite an interesting one because of the price is getting too high, because sometimes if you follow the yen, the central bank likes to intervene with the yen when the price gets out of hand, but they use the big news items to basically start buying more of the yen, so that the price can drop a bit, so there's a lot of interventions that happens with UJ. So they took an advantage of the NFP news and pushed price down a little bit, but I feel like we can expect a strong dollar to end the year. So this is just a smoke screen, but I feel like we are gonna push up again. Obviously the weekly looks a little bit not too great. I think the daily is better to analyze. So on the daily you can see it's quite a big run. I wouldn't be surprised if we opened with a gap and then close above these areas and continue the run. Like I was saying, this is an intervention from the BOJ, and this will open with a gap pushing up. There's a lot of orders that are we'll enter on a Friday, buy orders, and we'll see price open with a gap into these areas. So the yen, this is where I'm looking to enter around these levels. Obviously, I'll wait for the daily to open. Maybe Monday, if Monday can close above these areas, then I'll be looking at Tuesday on the lower time frames for a retest in these areas and see how far we can run. So I feel like we'll probably get to 160 by the end of the year, but that's still too far. We just have to look at it day by day, week by week. Take whatever the market's giving you. So I have a level here that I think price will reject from, and we'll see it start to flip bullish again. Obviously, there's a flip point here where there's original volume that broke structure, that broke this structure. Obviously, this is the news. So I'm gonna be looking for price to flip at this zone. After we correct at this area, flip at this zone. I'll, depending how active I am in the market, I might just find an entry in these areas, get a corrective structure, enter to this level, and then readjust from there. But if I'm not active on the market, my original entry is up here. But if I am active on the market tomorrow, then I'll be looking for price in this flip zone. See if we can break correct into this area and then get in and out, and maybe at this level, and then readjust during the week and re-enter again above here. So that's what I'm looking at the moment. It's all dependent on Monday. So hopefully you guys got some intel on what I'm planning to do for the week, and hopefully you can use it to your advantage as well. So thank you guys for joining me. I will see you guys on the next video.